Alright, what's up? We're back, and today I'm doing a super original video, which is a tier list. Not only a tier list, but a Bleach tier list. So, like, twice as original. No one has ever done this. So, as you guys may or may not know, I do Bleach D&D with Pokesol, RTL, Saxy, the boys. Everyone's in it. And so I've been thinking about Bleach a lot more recently, and I've thought about maybe doing some light power scaling videos. So I kind of figured an easy way to dip my toe into that pond would be to do some tier lists, because I actually genuinely find tier list videos fun to watch, fun to make. And so I found two that we're going to do today. One is going to be just ranking Ichigo's different forms, and then the other one is going to be strongest characters. I figured we'd start with this one because it's really easy, and this is just based on like which ones you think are cooler and like more. So right off the bat, you can see I have God tier, good, meh, sus, and then question marks. I'm putting white. There's two different versions of white on here. That is not Ichigo. I get that people call him White Ichigo, but it is white, so I'm not counting him. So I think we should start with probably the most iconic version of Ichigo, the most widely seen, which is his original form, like the first Shinigami form he unlocks. And I'm going to be honest, I'm actually a pretty big fan of this. I'm putting this in good. I think it's pretty good, actually. I know a lot of people don't like the sword. I'm a pretty big fan of just Giganto Katana. I don't think it's like amazing. It's not God tier, but it's pretty good. Also, I'm like kind of trying to remember these in chronological order, but I can't remember literally anything. So next up, I think would be this Shikai form right here. And the Shikai form obviously has to be God tier. It's like literally the most iconic anime sword form ever. It's dope. Next up would be the original Bankai, and I'm putting it in good. I mean, it's got like a swastika, which is a little weird, but at the end of the day, Ichigo's Bankai for so long is just like small sword. Hey, what do you like? What do you want your Bankai to be? What do you really like? Sword, little sword, tiny sword. If we're going chronologically, next up it would be the Ichigo like or like visored unleashed. This isn't really a standalone form, but I'm gonna put it like I'm just gonna put it sus. I mean, this isn't really a standalone form. It's just Ichigo. He's like, that's it. I mean, it's like, what does this even happen? Like twice, 2 or 3 times? It's against Byakuya, against Hiyori, and then maybe against Grimmjow. I don't think so, actually. Didn't he fight Grimmjow with this one? Now we have visored Ichigo, and I can't tell. This looks like visored Shikai, but I'm assuming they just mean visored as a whole. Visored is definitely just straight mid. Ichigo's hollow mask is one of the most boring masks. I said it. Next up we have Ichigo. This is like Dongai Ichigo. I'm surprised they don't have Mugetsu on here, but Dongai Ichigo is also just straight mid. It's really weird the way the sword fuses with his hand. He's got like sleeve taken off. Shit is weird. Oh yeah, I skipped over his full holification. Obviously God tier. I mean, are you joking? Are you joking me? It has to be. Okay, and now as far as I know, these are all Fullbring. I can't tell. Is this just base Ichigo? Is this a weird Fullbring thing, or is this just like Ichigo with not? Either way, I'm putting it in sus. We have Ichigo's like weird white bone armor, which I think is just meh. His sword, his like weapon situation wasn't super cool, but like the white boner armor looks kind of cool. It's hollowish, and that's what Fullbring is. This is just, I'm literally putting this in like question marks. I don't think this counts as a full-on form. It's on, no, it's sus. It's like the lowest of the low. It's so hideous. Also, I'm switching, even though this isn't a straight up form, I'm switching it with Dongai, I believe this is called. Okay, and last but not least, we have the strongest Ichigo from the anime, Fullbring Shinigami fucking Berserker mode. Obviously the Shikai is God tier. This is the coolest Ichigo has ever looked, ever. Top of God tier. He has never looked better than this. This is dope. The Bankai is, I would put it in the same tier as the other Bankai, but like one higher. So there you go. There are my favorite Ichigo forms ranked. Mugetsu isn't on here, so I don't know. It's my bad. But if Mugetsu was on here, it would be like meh. It would be in like straight mid. Okay, next up, next tier list. This is where we start getting into power. Big boys, powerful boys. As you can see, we got a lot of different tiers here, a ton of different people. And really quick, I want to talk about OP bullshit. Yuwa Bach is going in there. He's the only one who's going in OP bullshit tier. We don't need to talk about him. He's Yua. And then I have 2 tiers down here. One is not worth it talking about. These are just characters that, like, really, I don't know why they're on this list. They're not strong enough to be on this list. And then this is just called Y. I saw there's a ton of duplicates. There's like 5 different forms of Aizen and Ichigo. We're just going to do one for each person. We're just going to consider each person at like their peak. So really quick, I'm going to get what I think are all the duplicates in here. There's genuinely so many of them. There's like a million of Aizen and Ichigo. So I'm going to get this filled up and I'll be right back. Okay, I think that should be all the duplicates taken out. I don't know. I may have missed some. Look at how many, and these are all Aizen and Ichigo. There's no point in power scaling a lot of these separately. Like, just straight up Fullbring Ichigo. What the fuck would be the point of even talking about this? And for a lot of these characters, I'm going to be talking real fast. Just like I said, this is a light power scaling video. This is honestly not even going to be really talking about any serious power scaling. But one thing I'm going to let you guys know right now is that pretty much all the Visored are like C tier or D. Actually, no, they're like D tier. Yeah, pretty much all the Visored are like D tier. Lisa can eat shit. Pretty much all these guys except for like 2. And that would be, I think, Kensei. I think Kensei is C tier. And I think Shinji, is he not? Oh yeah, I think he's B tier. Okay, actually what I've decided I'm going to do, since there's so many of these characters, I'm literally just going to go through, I'm going to place them, I'm going to put them all on the list, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to tell you why I think people are in certain spots. Okay, I think I have everybody roughly placed where I want them to be. Now we just really need to decide on where at they go. So, obviously Y doesn't need to be ordered, this is just duplicates, and OP bullshit is just Yua. So I guess let's start with, and again, not worth talking about, I guess I'll go over a couple of these. A lot of these are like lieutenants, so they're just by default not worth talking about. And people who are non-combatants, like Orihime, I mean, she has like a super OP bullshit power, but it's real, there's no point in talking about it. Same with Ukitake, I'm not saying is not strong, I think he is. We just don't see enough of him. I mean, he turns out to be like a piece of the Soul King and whatnot, but we just don't see him body enough people. So with D tier, we have mainly the Visored here, honestly. We do have the one, I always forget this Fullbringer's name, but honestly, all Fullbringer except him and Ginjo would be not worth talking about. But so I put him at the very bottom of D tier. I think Soifon is above a couple, like most of these Visored, to be honest. She's probably like here. This one's definitely ranked last. Like right there. I think that's fine for D tier. Actually, we're going to change this just for fun, because why not? So C tier is one that genuinely I don't care. Like, C tier is just completely average, so I don't think there's any point in fussing about it. I do think Kensei is probably the strongest out of here. Yoruichi, if she still had her Zanpakuto. Rukia is up there. I mean, she's not bad by the end of the series. Shuhei, this is fine. This is like, I could spend a lot of time nitpicking this, but these characters aren't really strong enough to make a difference. So B tier is where we start to get some complicated, or I should say controversial, because I think majority of the Espada are B tier. They don't scale to like Blood War, but they are decently strong. They're like above captain level for where they are, so they're okay. Coyote and Yami are obviously the strongest, are supposed to be the strongest. Functionally, they don't really turn out that way. And then I think I'm gonna say that Tosin's actually probably stronger than Yami. Definitely not in raw power, but I don't know how the fight would go down off the top of my head, but I think that feels right. And then other than that, like, she's probably like right here. He's definitely above him. He is like probably at the top of B tier. Actually, Mayuri's probably at the top of B tier, then Renji's just behind this guy, Sasakabe is just behind Renji. But for the most part, I think almost all of these hollow pieces of shit scale pretty low. They're like just above mid. So next up, we have A tier. These are people who are real strong. Like, these are starting to get really strong. I'm going to put the most controversial pick farthest to the right. We'll talk about him last. Okay, who's the strongest? I think probably Uryu makes a strong contender. Kisuke, pretty high. As not, or wait, not as not. I don't know who would. I mean, Byakuya is stronger because he's alive. Okay, so I'm actually satisfied with this. Uryu, the antithesis, basically means if he doesn't get immediately killed instantly, he's cool. Uryu is like super underrated. Kisuke is bullshit. Super hacks. I think this is cool. Is there anyone that would be like controversial? Ishin, people always underrate. Nemu is stronger than Mayuri. People don't realize that. Unohana is Kenpachi #1. Byakuya, I mean, he should be dead, but he gets strong. Ukiura should not be here. I don't know why I put him here. That is my mistake. These two should definitely be at the bottom of A tier. In fact, no. I'll give them the service and say that they're the very bottom of A tier. Pernida is literally the Quincy-fied like arm of the Soul King. He's pretty fucking scary, controls your nerves. Toshiro becomes the shitty ice version of Yamamoto. Speaking of Yamamoto, we got a fire guy. What's this guy's name? Like Basby or something like that? He does fire. He's a Quincy, so he's automatically super strong. And then the most controversial pick by far is going to be Ginjo. Now, if you guys want, I could probably do a whole video breaking down why Ginjo is super powerful and you guys are all underrating him. But all you need to know, right, is that in the anime, in the Bleach anime, the strongest point we ever see Ichigo get to is when he's fighting Ginjo, right? And so that alone should basically scale him. But basically, we can more directly scale him to be multi-captain level because when Ichigo gets his powers back, they send a bunch of people, a whole squad of people, to deal with him should he potentially defect and betray them. Whether or not they were actually going to do that is they probably weren't. They were never. They all liked Ichigo, but that is how big of a threat they perceived Ichigo as being at the time. So Ginjo he's definitely above captain level. He's definitely at that time, at the end of that arc, he is the equivalent of like a very strong captain or two. All I'm saying is people below him would get blitzed. I mean, Gin and Tosin are both captains. They would get fucking one-shot by Ginjo. I did put him pretty low down because I think higher tier, like Sasekabe, Renji, these guys might stand a chance and it could be like a toss-up. Okay, next up we have S tier. The best of the best, best and brightest. So we have Ichibe, Yamamoto. Let's see if I can remember everyone's names. I'm so bad. I just want to say this, even though we're like 15 minutes into the video. I'm really bad with names, so I'm sorry about that. But this is Ichibe, Yamamoto, Ichigo, Aizen, Gerard, Shunsui, Kenpachi, Lilibaro, and Jugrim. So I think right off the bat, Aizen goes to the top. Aizen is basically as scary as you can be without being Yua himself. There's really no telling like what the fuck Aizen can even do. We've never ever seen him like to his limit. He's a psycho crazy guy, and he's insanely strong. I actually think this is almost right. Like, this right now is almost right. The one thing I'm going to do is throw Ichigo down here. I think the one person that Ichigo is stronger than is probably Jugrim. I'll give Ichigo the benefit of the doubt and say he could beat Lilibaro. I don't know if Ichigo could beat Lilibaro. I don't know. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he would do better in a fight versus Lilibaro than, like, on average. But there you go. I think this is pretty much done. I definitely think Aizen's the strongest, right? Then we have Ichibe. Ichibe is bullshit overpowered, like ancient deity. Yamamoto is the perfect Shinigami. He's a Shinigami with no weaknesses. He's so underrated. I get that he dies, and that's like fucked up, but my god, is Yamamoto powerful. Then we have Gerard, the Miracle. Pretty self-explanatory. They keep killing him. He just comes back stronger every time. Shunsui has like an instant death hack. He has a reality warping Bankai, which reality warping even at low level means you're pretty fucking strong. Kenpachi is Kenpachi. If you know anything about Bleach, you know why Kenpachi's here. It's just like, what the fuck is this guy even doing? Ichigo, even though he doesn't show that he's very strong, and generally I wouldn't even put him in S tier, after some considerations, you know, he is, even though he gets shit on, he's getting shit on by the strongest of the strong, so I think he deserves the S tier nod. Then Lily Barrow, light-based attacks, turns into like hell god form, pretty scary, and then Jugrim has the power to balance anything. So there you go. I'll zoom in on this as much as I can, but there's my complete list for these characters. If you guys ever find like a better list for me to do, or other lists that you want me to do, let me know. I actually really enjoy tier lists. I think they're fun to make, they're fun to do. But that's it for this video. I'll see you guys the day after tomorrow with another one that is about a subject.